All right, just doing a real quick test. Testing for Sean. You got my email with the transparent PNG for their logo, right? I mean, it's right enough. It's just, I guess you didn't get it. Hold on. Oh, well. No, don't worry about it. I forwarded it to you this morning, 3 hours ago, so hold on. Just send it to you here. Ah, you're fine, you're fine. So you're good then? I don't stress on it too much because even he said like you can just use it for next season. So that's fine. No worries. I'm ready.
I'm good. That could catch some of the drivers out with these SRFs. As we do know, they have a very, very loose back end. Right, let's get into the nitty gritty of the track. It is 1.76 miles or 2.83 kilometers, depending on how you look at it. We have 12 turns, and today we'll be racing for 40 minutes around this circuit.
And of course, to get us the best idea about what this track is like, why don't we hop on board the GSRC SRF? All right, we're in the GSRC SRF, so let's do a lap around Road Atlanta. Coming down the front stretch, turn one will sometimes offer an opportunity to pass if you get a good draft of the car ahead.
this is such a fast sweeper, I wouldn't really expect to outbrake anyone.
Stumbled on my words.
You've got to get on the power as soon as you feel safe, but be careful not to understeer off into the grass.
It's hard to
Swing
get it
into
right
the middle of the track
first
to
try.
help line yourself up through 2 into 3. This blind right-hander really requires you to be brave with the curbs, but the SRF doesn't like them, so expect some hairy moments. From out of there,
what I usually do to help that is
all flat out.
I tend to give it a few practice runs.
Once you hit 5, you need a little lift to get the front to grip, and then your right foot should be on the floor all the way until the chicane. This crossover section on the short version effectively acts as one long corner exit, but it will also provide a big slipstream with the high speeds. And frankly, that combined with the heavy braking into the chicane makes this your best chance for an overtake on the lap. But the interesting thing is that the back and forth of the chicane also means that you can defend or attack from either side, depending on how much you trust your opponent. The important thing is getting on the gas early to help carry your momentum over this big hill into the final corner. Swing it out wide, don't lift, and be careful not to take too much curb, but hopefully you've now finished a lap around Road Atlanta.
And that is a lap around Road Atlanta's short course. It cuts out a significant chunk, although even though it's only half the backstretch, it still gets very fast down into that chicane. Now, with it being a little bit dark out here, at qualifying times we expect to be a little bit fast, but we'll get to that in a second. We're going to go to the Drivers' Championship of course first, as we take a look at the points on that. Daniel Manenkov is tied up there with Jason Perry now. So it's going to be a very important fight, with this being the penultimate round. Whoever finishes ahead of the other goes into the final round on the front foot, of course. Dimitrios Hudaludi sits in third, only 5 points back on them. So it's a very tight fight, even if those two mess up. Dimitrios could still get himself up into first. Stephen Elson about 12 points back from them. And, of course, Michael Shaw a little bit farther back, 26 points behind. Now, some of our viewers may not have watched the Weekend Warriors before, so let's go back to Joseph to talk about what the race details are like.
Yep. Thank you, Joe. As we mentioned before, it is a 40-minute long race. This is round 11 of 12. 2 races left to go in the season. Championship hotting up, as you just saw. The setups are completely open, which means that drivers are able to do whatever they want within the limits that iRacing lets them. And they're going to have 30% fuel max in these cars. There's no incident cap, and they're allowed 2 fast repairs for the 40-minute race.
And with that fuel limit, these drivers will need to make at least one stop out there. Just about 8 minutes left in the qualifying. Looking at the top of the sheets right now, Kane Halliburton up with a 1:04.8, and he's got 2/10 over Fraser Williamson. Will that be very important here today, Joseph? Is passing going to be a regular thing, or is qualifying really critical?
I mean, there's a couple of passing zones, obviously into turn 1 and into the chicane are sort of the main areas for overtaking. The others are quite difficult. Unless someone makes a mistake, I don't really think you can make a move in the S's and stuff like that. So I think qualifying is important, but in the stops, you're going to need a good stop because it being such a short course, around a 1 minute lap time, you're going to want to be up there in qualifying, as Fraser Williamson has now gone fastest with a 1:04.747. So he's the second man in the 1 minute fours.
Topped Kane Halliburton by about a 10th there. Stevie Ray is the next one down, sitting in third. He's got another 3/10 to get up to Halliburton, which is a significant amount of time, I would think, on a track that's this short. The lap times, as we said, only 1:04, 1:05.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of these times there's not too much of a gap. Some tracks we could see quite a big difference between the guys. Some of them we see quite small, but a short track, so essentially the longer the gap, the bigger the gap, the more you're losing. Essentially 3/10 on one circuit is completely different to 3/10 on another circuit.
Fraser Williamson improves his time by just a little bit, but he was already on pole, so all it does is make it harder for him to reach. Halliburton is continuing out there trying, bit of a slug match between those two right now. The other thing about the short circuit that I'm a little bit concerned about today, we've got, let's see, how many cars do we have out there right now? 35 I'm seeing out there right now, 35, 36. Is traffic going to be a major problem with that many cars on such a short circuit?
100%. We said there's not going to be many passing moves as well, zones. And with the traffic, because I don't think it'll be too long into the race where we'll start seeing lap cars, especially in the S's, I'm sure on lap 1 we'll see a couple of incidents for sure. I don't think it's possible without getting away with an incident. We'll definitely see 1 or 2 at least. And then by that point, traffic will become an issue for the leaders. And it could, we don't really want it to happen, but it could cause some issues for the leaders. Getting held up and maybe getting tangled up with those back markers.
Kane Halliburton we saw go across the line and unfortunately did not improve. Right now watching Jason Perry, one of the faster drivers out in this field. He's coming down to the chicane to complete another lap. He sits in 5th at a 105.2 at the moment. Behind him we see there a couple of drivers battling a little bit, trying to get themselves into good position. That's actually Jason Katz, who's just ahead of him on the timing sheets as Perry crosses the line. Can he improve this 105.28? The answer, unfortunately, is no. So he's going to stay in 5th for now. He's got a few more laps to try and get it done, does Spider-Man?
Yep, he's very, very iconic. Spider-Man livery. We know who it is when we see that car. The two Jasons currently in P4 and 5. Very, very close. Nothing really seems to be separating them at the moment. And Stephen Elson, not too far behind them either. Overall, 3 seconds is the gap over the whole field. So it's quite tight still. But with the top 10 being covered by less than a second, Joe.
Yes, and as you said, just incredibly tight. Short lap time tending to increase that, which means more laps pounded around here in the 40-minute race, and of course means that the track will rubber in quicker, and we'll probably see more marbles offline as the drivers will be hitting the same piece of tarmac more often. So we watch Wayne Palmer down in 22nd at the moment. He sits at a 106.1. Coming up and over onto this backstretch. You know, I don't know what you found in your practice, but I know when I was getting out in the car to do that lap guide there, Joseph, but coming around that crossover section that shortens the track, I was having horrible trouble with understeer.
Yeah, for that section, I found it was really understeery as well. I think it's just the nature of the car and that corner. The car just seems to understeer no matter whatever line you take, wherever you go with the car, where you brake, how fast you're coming in. It just seems to be the nature of it and sort of the characteristics of the car forcing that.
Believe we have a driver moving up into the top 10, Jerry McAreevy. Looks like he's got himself into 7th, if I'm seeing right. Not entirely sure if that was who I saw. I just saw a name pop up there, and I'm pretty sure it was Jerry, the number 67. Nicely done with a 105.3. So even though it is late in this qualifying, there's still absolutely time. And the interesting thing, too, is this is open qualifying. So I wonder if there's drivers maybe trying to play the drafting game out there, Joseph.
Yeah, definitely. I'd probably say on the pit straight, that could be worked quite well, getting a run into 1. So there's no limit on laps. So open, as you said, and that allows the drivers to get as many laps as they can, and some of the drivers may fuel up and just keep pounding laps around this circuit.
Austin Winter gets himself faster than Jerry McAreevy up into 7th, 105.299. Things continuing to shuffle around, so we can't quite call the grid yet. There's still plenty more chances to try and change things. Only driver that does not have a lap time yet is Wes Shire, but I don't see him out on track, so I'm guessing he's not going to attempt as we get under the 2-minute mark. Yeah, that'll mean that he cannot get a time in from here. So you see even a few drivers pushing it beyond the limit there, down into turn 1. That's the other thing that I find really tricky about this combination here. We talk about that lift throttle oversteer. Turn 1 especially, it's so fast through there. Do you think we'll see a lot more spins like that we just saw?
Yeah, I think spins in this car can be a regular occurrence, especially at this circuit where it's quite a difficult track to master, just with the nature of the turns and the car, and as you said, the off-throttle oversteer that you can get. These guys race these cars in and out a lot of the time. You know, they race here every week, but it's something that you just can't always help, and even the most experienced drivers can still spin this car.
Richard Yalland currently down in 15th, comes down the back stretch up in one of the most popular passing spots here into the chicane. He's got a little bit of traffic in front of him. Kane Halliburton currently second, so he shouldn't really hold him up. Kane is on pace right now. So as he comes over the hill, can Yalland get himself a little bit higher up the order? 105.6 currently. Crosses the line. No, he does not improve. Stays at a 105.6. Just a few more seconds left in this qualifying. C. Love, who we see often over in the SCCS series, the Sports Car Challenge. Oh, he improves by a good portion, getting himself up into 15th, actually toppling Richard Yalland down to 16th. Checkered flag comes out. Driver still on a hot lap. Can keep at it. See, Fraser Williamson, our pole sitter, is currently in, so he won't improve. Who is the highest car still out there? Jason Perry in 5th at the moment. He's coming around the backside of the course, up and over the hill. What can Spider-Man do? Can he get himself any higher than the third row? Braking for the chicane. Weaving his way back up through the final corner now. Has he got it? It sits at a 105.2 still for Jason Perry. His last chance is not going to be enough. He stays in 5th. Looks like Jerry McAreevy is still out there completing his lap. He's coming through the chicane as well. Sitting in that 8th position after Austin Winter got up there. Steve Elson also has demoted him one. What does McAreevy have under the hood? He's going to cross the line. Does he improve? And the answer is no, he does not. 8th is going to be the best that he's got. With that, that ends our qualifying. So let's go through your grid. Starting on the pole, going to be Fraser Williamson with Kane Halliburton hot on his heels. But there's 2 tenths between them in qualifying. Let's see if that changes. According to Race Pace, Stevie Ray, league organizer, gets himself in a good spot, starting 3rd with Jason Katz in 4th. Jason Perry, as we followed across the line, will do no better than 5th at the drop of the green. Austin Winter starts in 6th. Then we go to row 4. It's Stephen Elson starting in 7th. P8 goes to Jerry McAreevy. Robert Plumley in P9. And the top 10, Joseph, is rounded out by Josh Arnold.
Yes, it is. On row 6, we have Keith Walsh, and I'm just going to call him Jose Oviedo for ease. On row 7, we have David Gregorio and Jack Hobbs, Edward Doherty and Demetrius Huduludi line up on row 8. We have C. Love and Richard Yalland on row 9. Row 10, we have Philippe Chauvin and Adam Bradshaw on row 10.
Alejandro Lero starts 21st with Fred Desai in 22nd. Charles Eric Lemlin will be 23rd today. Wayne Palmer, 24th. Jeffrey Gambrell will be in the 25th spot, followed by Paul Godden in 26th. Then you go to Tom Gradwell. He starts in 27th. He's followed by Jeff Cantor in 28th. Andrew Whitston in 29th, and Gary Wobolt rounds out the top 30.
Issa Nunmi in P31 with Richard Valley alongside. Carl Townsend will be in 33rd and Mike Lucas just behind. And starting at the back of the grid today, Weisskaya.
So, Roof Pace Car is going to lead them away in a few moments. We get a short pace lap around this very tiny course. You can see the weather up there, very overcast if it wasn't obvious by the darkness. 68-degree air temperature. Interestingly, the track is hotted up because of the cars to 73 degrees. Only a very small bit of wind, so they shouldn't really have to worry about that. But because of the overcast nature, 82% humidity out there. It is sticky down in Georgia right now. Roof Pace Car now takes off and leads them away. One thing they do have to worry about is pit stops, which we shortly mentioned, Joseph, and that pit entry. I've watched a number of races around here. They really have to practice that thing.
Yeah, I mean, it's essentially another corner. It's a right, left, right, and then another, right, left, right, going into the pits. So they're going to want to get that right. Don't want to see any mistakes into there. That could really, really ruin your race. And then we look at the pit exit. The pit exit isn't as bad, but you are sort of feeding in just into the S's, so you want to be careful of drivers coming through T1.
Very much so. It's always difficult to check behind yourself with it being kind of blind coming out of that pit. And the cars tend to try and swing wide, of course, as they enter, as you said, the turns 2 and 3. So as we come along the backside, driver is going to be 2 by 2. Certainly will make it exciting down into turn 1 as they try to get themselves into position. Fraser Williamson will have control of the field once this Roof Pace Car peels off on the downhill. Plunging now into the last chicane. They're pretty much flat out from turn 5 down into here, where they get on the binders. And then from here down to turn 1, also not lifting. Very fast second half of the course into the first, maybe quarter of the circuit as the green flag comes out. And Fraser Williamson easily into first, but a challenge for second as here comes Stevie Ray up the inside of Kane Halliburton. Almost gives a bump draft there to Fraser Williamson up in first. They work their way through the first corner, almost seen 3 wide in a few places. Some drivers backing out, thinking better of it with this being early in the race, but it looks like it's cleanly through the first corner.
Yeah, pretty clean throughout the whole field. From what I can see, doesn't seem to be any incidents. I think they got through turn 3 all clean as well. I'll let you know if I see anything out of the ordinary or some cars round.
And that's usually the harder one, is that turn 3 with everybody bunched up. Fraser Williamson starting to stretch away. Stevie Ray may have taken second. Kane Halliburton had an opportunity, but he decides not to take it down into the chicane. As they accordion together, we could see some drivers get into one another. I'm seeing a few lockups as drivers are trying to keep that from happening. But impressively, the skills of this group are shining through, and no incidents so far on the first lap. I see C Love going slow, though. I may have to eat my words. Oh, we had a big one. C Love involved, Philip Chauvin involved. And it looks like Edward Doherty. Oh, we got some problems up front, I understand. Stevie Ray with some problems. Let's take a look at the replay and figure out what exactly happened here. This is into turn 1. Oh, and side-by-side action with Jason Perry resulted in the league organizer find himself facing the wrong way in the grass on the outside of 1. Let's watch it one more time here. Yeah, just little door banging. Unfortunately, did not go the way of that gray and blue machine. He's back out on track. He's up to 19th, but boy, Joseph, he's got a hill to climb.
Yeah, definitely. He's P17 according to mine now, but that's still a long, long way to make up the field, really, isn't it? This track isn't easy to pass, and I think we're going to go back to the front of the pack.
Whoa. And a spin for our leader. He just put in the fastest lap. He was pushing hard, but maybe a little bit too hard. Jason Perry takes us over the lead as Williamson desperately tries to get back on track. He feeds in what looks like in 11th spot.
Yeah, 11.
Wow. Joseph, what happened here?
Gonna have a look here. So he's coming home all normally, as you said, set the fastest lap of the race. He's gonna he's just touched the curb and lost it. These spec racer Fords do not like the curbs around here, and that's just one example of it. We're gonna have a look at it again.
Gonna watch on board. Yeah. Let's see how hard he hits it here. Almost looks like it was starting to lose it before he even got the curb.
Yeah.
Well, we're coming back live. Jason Perry leads now due to two of our major players falling out early. Jason Katz gets bumped to second, and Steve Elson to third.
See, Love is out by the looks of things. He's disconnected from the session, so he was involved in that incident we saw earlier, and it's the end of the day for C. Love.
Surprising, since they have two faster pairs in this series. Would have thought he'd been able to get back out there, but elects to not try and get back into the mix, unfortunately. Our top drivers still very close together. We've got a challenge for third, in fact. Austin Winter coming up the inside of Elson. Out breaks him into the corner. Can he get it woed up in time? Just slots in nicely. It is tight racing. Oh, but he's coming back at him.
Just got a better run out of turn 10. And, yeah, that looks to be Stephen Elson's position. But Austin Winter looks to have a better run. But is he going to go for a... No, he's not going to go for the moving one.
Going to stay in line. And look at this top train starting to form. Bit of a draft pack kind of looking like. Maybe as they're using these fast portions of the circuit to try to hold on to our leader, Jason Perry. That pack involves Perry, Katz, Elson, Winter, Halliburton, McAreevy, and Josh Arnold is at the tail of the train.
Fraser Williamson managed to find himself back up into P8, so he's got past Hobbs, Oviedo, and Yallen, so he's on a charge, hopefully, to get back through to the top of the pack. And
challenge for the lead. It looks like Jason Katz going to have a go down into the chicane on the inside of Perry. Perry tries to carry his speed around the outside of the first corner, but it's going to swap back. He just tips Katz. Katz gets into it. Oh, and another car involved.
Jason Perry.
Oh, more cars piling in.
Perry's tried to rejoin and he's hit someone else. I'm not quite sure who that was. Jason Perry's gone to the pits.
Kane Halliburton involved in that as well. Oh, this was a mess. We had such a clean start, and then it just all went to hell. So many cars involved in that. I'm trying to even just get some names. Adam Bradshaw got caught up, Fred Desai, Alejandro Liero, Richard Yalland. Wow, this changes the complexion of the lead pack. Just incredibly huge. Steve Elson, now your leader. Austin Winter is still in second. Our lead pack now down to 3. Jerry McAreevy stays in the mix in third. And then you got a big gap back to Josh Arnold, who's all by his lonesome in fourth.
Interesting to point out, in P6, yeah, Fresh Desai, he started P22. So he's, gained 16 positions off the start due to these incidents. He's just going to, just hopefully try and come back through the field. Well, come up through the field, sorry. But he has got a 7-second gap to Fraser Williamson, who started on the pole. Fraser Williamson luckily didn't get caught up in that incident, had a little spin earlier on in the race. And
watch Stevie Ray there getting one more position, but that driver not giving up. That is Fraser Williamson. So two of our former front runners, as we saw a car going off in the back. That is Robert Plumley, who took a bit of a spin through the grass. He gets back on without hitting anything. This pack, though, as Bill Zahn likes to say, pinata full of bees here. involving the cars of Williamson, Hobbs, Stevie Ray, Fred Desai, Edward Doherty, Adam Bradshaw, Wayne Palmer, and Paul Godin all together in a group.
Yeah, Jeff Cantor not too far behind if he can just sort of hold on. We've got some big train here. Fraser Williamson, I'm going to keep an eye on him. He's on P5 now. Can he?
Starting to pull away a little bit.
Yeah, I'm wondering, do you reckon he can maybe force his way back up to the top?
If he's got the pace, it'll depend on whether or not the top guys work together. As we continue to watch this fight down for 7th, 8th, and 9th. Doherty, Desai side by side, up into turn 1. Desai decides to back out of it. Hobbs sticks his nose in because of that. He gains a position. So Desai moving backwards. It loses yet another spot as Adam Bradshaw sneaks through before they get to turn 3. Right on board with the 9th place Bradshaw. Really get a good sense of the up and down nature of this track through the S's too.
Yeah, there's a lot of elevation change around this circuit, up and down. Gonna go on to the lead.
Oh, battle for the lead, almost lost it as Elson has to gather the car back together coming out of the chicane. This is going to give a bit of a gap up to Austin Winter as the battle is now for P2 between Elson and McAreevy.
Yep, Stephen Elson just sort of got caught up. Lost a bit of time to Austin Winter, and that's just allowed Jerry McAreevy to catch up to the back of that Gulf-coloured car.
Now they all get line astern once again. And this battling, well, actually, no, that's Dimitri Hudaludi behind them. He is a lap down, same thing. No, Josh Arnold is in 4th. So they're split by a lap car now between the lead 3 and 4th Josh Arnold. What kind of lap times are we seeing? Oh, Williamson is out. Williamson had something happen. Let's see if we can figure that out. Oh, it was very recent. And for the second time today, it was turn 3, Joseph.
It just looked like a similar sort of thing from what I've seen.
Yeah, he clipped that inside curb. This time, though, he spun
just
to the right.
the other way, yeah. So maybe just a corner he struggles at. We said that turn 3 isn't the easiest of corners. We have mentioned that. And it's caught out Fraser Williamson today. Starting on the pole, and that's our pole sitter out.
Well, the lead has swapped around as Elson was passed by Jerry McAreevy. Excuse me, not the lead, but the lead pack has swapped around. Austin Winter still up in the front of these 3. They've got about 2 seconds over Josh Arnold at the moment.
And there's a big gap to Stevie Ray of 11 seconds, so he doesn't look to be challenging them anytime soon. And a couple of cars behind them, Edward Doherty and Adam Bradshaw, and then we have just a train of about 4 or 5 cars down to about 11.
Let's jump back in the mid-pack. Kane Halliburton may have started on the front row, but because of his early problems with Jason Perry and a few other drivers, he's been sent back down to 19th, trying to claw his way forward. He's gathering ground on Mike Lucas. Ooh, Lucas getting so far inside, he clips the grass, and I think that slowed him down. He weaves back to the outside, which will become the inside down into the chicane. Halliburton backing out of it a little bit, deciding to wait for a better opportunity.
Yeah, he seemed to have the run, but just didn't think that being on the outside was going to be the good option. He's already been involved in one incident today. I don't think he wants to be involved in another.
Oh, he made great use of that chicane, just carrying his speed off of it. Slingshots by. Move Halliburton up into 18th now. Going a little bit farther forward, Jack Hobbs. Definitely in the thick of it. We were watching this pack earlier. Adam Bradshaw leading the way in 7th. Hobbs 8th. Desai 9th. And then look at the tight battle between Palmer and Godin. Down in 10th and 11th. Godin just going to stay in the tire tracks of what looks like his teammate based on the paint schemes there. Oh, and our leader is off. Austin Winter goes off track through turn 1, gathers it back together. He gets himself back out in third, but that's going to hand the lead over to McAreevy. Let's look at the replay.
What is it today with our leaders just spinning out, being involved in incidents whenever they have a couple of laps in front and then something happens to them?
It's the race nobody wanted to win. So thankfully minimal damage for Winter. Ironically named, I guess now, as Josh Arnold has caught up to him within a second. So maybe, I wonder if Josh, if I was Josh, maybe get on the radio and talk to Austin and say, hey, let's work together. Let's try and slingshot and catch these top 2.
Yeah, that's definitely an option he could have. He's going to be wanting to get up there. And he knows Austin's fast. He's going to want to follow Austin, maybe use the draft, as we've been seeing a lot of the drivers use, just sit in the train. Is that a battle for 10th? Yes, so Paul Godden and Wayne Palmer, very, very similar coloured cars. They look to be teammates. I mean, there's no team championship, but they're going to be working together. Not going to want Robert Plumley to get past, but looks like he's going to get past Wayne Palmer. Can he make the double overtake? Yes, he can. So he gets back past both of the orange cars. And next up is Fresh Desai, who started in P22.
Yeah, Plumley was sent down the field earlier on as well. He started 9th and now getting himself up to 10th is just about back where he started. But as we've seen, a lot of fast drivers have fallen to the wayside, so there could still yet be some slower ones that he could outpace up towards the front. Meanwhile, let's check back in on our leaders, see if maybe they're behaving up there. Steve Elson closing in on the back of McAreevy. No, they're not behaving. He looks to the inside. He's going to try and take it away. Can he get it wound up in time, though, as he goes way wide, but keeps it on course? Here comes McAreevy back at him. Does he dare stick his nose in turn 3? He takes a peek, thinks better of it. He'll settle for second for now. They still have 25 minutes left to go. He's still got time.
Yeah, definitely. We've only had 15 minutes of this race, and oh boy, it's been an interesting one, hasn't it? No one wants to win it. Hopefully someone wins it today. I don't want to end up with no cars running. But we have a good battle for the lead at the moment, and I'm sure if they both manage to keep it on track, we could see this being a very, very long-fought battle.
I think we're getting some scheduled stops. Robert Plumley has come in for his. Currently, the highest car I'm seeing that has come in is David Gregorio, but I'm not sure if he was one of the drivers that had early problems. Yeah, that was not a scheduled stop for him. He was only in for 1.2 seconds, so he was getting a spare car whenever he came in.
Kane Halliburton's come in, but he came in very early. I think he was involved in that big pile-up we saw out of the chicane. He's been, well, out of the pits for 8 laps, so it doesn't seem to be a scheduled stop. So I believe you're right with Robert Plumley being the first of the scheduled stops for this race.
Up at the front once again, Steve Elson still leading the way over McAreevy, but could he be handing that back? McAreevy to the inside over the long backside sweeper. They're going to be side by side coming down into the chicane. McAreevy has the momentum at the moment, but he does not have the preferred racing line. Oh, but he's going to give it up. Elson lifts down into the corner, lets him through. That looked like a little bit of after you, please.
Yeah, maybe just sort of wants to get in that draft. You can see Austin Winter and Josh Arnold seem to be working together. They don't really seem to be battling too much, just sort of sitting in his draft, whereas Stephen Elson and Jerry McAreevy just keep battling.
The last lap, 1:05.2 for Winter. Elson a 1:05.7, McAreevy a 1:05.3. So Winter was faster than both leaders that time through.
So that means he's going to be gaining. Josh Arnold was a 1:05.4. So Stephen Elson, yeah, maybe lost a bit of time when he let Jerry McAreevy through.
More drivers with scheduled stops. Stevie Ray is in, waiting in his stall patiently.
Jack Hobbs also in the pits.
Here we see a few of them almost exactly halfway, so this makes sense. Most logical time to come in, although they do not take tires. No really advantage for that. Jack Hobbs is back out. This is a long stop for...
Yeah, he had some damage, I believe. So they've had to repair that on his car, and he's now back out on track. He's fed out in P24, according to my timing.
Checking back with our leaders to see what the last lap time was now. Austin with a 105.6. Also with a 105.3, McAreevy 105.3. So this time Austin was the slower of the three of them, losing time that he had gained ground on. Wonder if maybe it's time to start thinking pit stops. He's within 2 seconds of the leader, so really good in and out, could potentially leapfrog.
Yeah, if he can get in some clear air and just push, get some times in, get some good times in, faster than the leaders when the leaders are battling, get that undercut advantage. Leaders don't come in. We don't see anyone else in out of the top 4. But that could definitely be a viable option for Austin or Josh at this point.
Looking through with and we've got a battle for 8th starting to happen here. Paul Godden, Wayne Palmer, those teammates we keep seeing every once in a while. Right now, the lead car, I know they're painted very similarly. Lead car is Godden, trailing car is Palmer. Wow, that draft really sucks you up, and Palmer is going to look to the inside down through the first corner, but as you can see, it just interrupts her momentum on the exit, so it might switch back. Nope. Looks like Godden is going to back out of it, not going to try and challenge.
Yeah, they just seem to be working together. Don't really want to cause any issues for either of them. If one of them's slower, they're going to let each other through. Right, we're going to go back up to the battle for P3. Austin Winner and Josh Arnold. Josh Arnold finds himself 4 tenths behind. Is that a lap car behind the two? All right, saying that. Yeah, it is. It is the 26 of Demetrius Houdelouis, who got caught up in an incident early on in this race with Walsh, I believe. Keith Walsh. Yeah, so we believe because he came in so early, they're going to have to make a proper scheduled stop. Sorry.
Easy for you to say?
Yeah.
So Josh Arnold and Austin Winner still kind of working together. Almost feel like Josh may be riding the coattails of Austin, with him being the faster of the two potentially. They work their way through the chicane. Ooh, overshooting it a little bit there, Josh Arnold, and this is going to hurt him up and over the hill. Loses gobs of time on Austin Winner. Our two leaders swap positions again, I believe, is Jerry McAreevy and Steve Elson. Jerry to the inside, down into turn 1. This is costing them time here. Winner is starting to gain ground as they go through door to door. Nobody's willing to give up this time around. Jerry's going to have the inside of 3, but he backs out of it. He lets Elson have it for now. That gap back to Winner, down to 1.3, down to 0.7 of a second now.
They're just losing time. I think one of them has just got to take the lead. If one of them wants to win this race, Austin is definitely the faster out of the top 3 at the moment.
Oh, it's too late now. Winner is... Yeah. He's caught them. He's going to have the draft, and he is in this fight, whether they want it or not. They've got traffic up ahead.
Yeah, we've got traffic. We mentioned that before. Being a short circuit and, 20 minutes into this race, we've got traffic for the leaders that don't believe have been involved in incidents, so this is pure traffic.
So looking to see who our highest pitter right now. Could be Halliburton, depending on how far he can go. As we said, we're not sure that he can make it, but Alejandro Liero as well. No, he pitted on the same lap, I'm seeing, and Jason Katz. They were all involved in that incident.
Yeah, I believe it's Robert Plumley.
Whoa. Who is that spinning on screen there? Oh, Jose Oviedo, it looks like maybe... No, he was in this pit stall. We'll try and look into that a little later. Adam Bradshaw, meanwhile, is coming in for his pit stop. So, wait, where is... Was that McAreevy, actually? McAreevy is down the order. Yeah, that was McAreevy. That was one of our leaders that spun that we saw on screen. He was by himself, and I'm watching on my screen. It looks like we may have found it. I think, yeah, we've got to go maybe about 30 seconds farther back, I think. But this was through turn 1. You're going to see here as they're dealing with the traffic. To me, Joseph, it looks like he just takes too much of that inside curb. Those curbs, we keep saying that these drivers can't push too hard.
Yeah, Fraser Williamson found that out with the curbs, and
twice.
Jerry McAreevy is the next victim of these, well, horrible curbs for these Spec Racer Forbes here.
You see the car bounce there, and it just sent it wide, and once he touched the outside grass, there was no saving it. He goes down to 4th, and unfortunately loses touch with our leaders. Godden and Palmer. Oh! Just as we go to them, Wayne Palmer going off course, trying to stay out of who we believe is his teammate. Regardless, it's been his dancing partner for most of this race. May have gone a little bit far back on this one. This is happens at turn 3. Looks like we won't be able to get that one, but regardless, outbraked himself trying to stay out of Godden, and that demotes Palmer down to 9th rather. Godden stays in 7th. Our leader is in. Austin Winter pits.
So is Edward Doherty. We're going to see what Austin Winter's stop will be. Is it going to be a nice clean stop? All right. It doesn't seem particularly fast.
He's in there for a while.
17 seconds. I'll see what Edward Doherty does. Kane Halliburton had a 5.1 when he 10.2 for Edward Doherty. So Austin Winter may not be our race leader when we come back round.
Indeed, Doherty is looking a lot nicer there, although he will be behind Winter. So then, where are our other leaders? In fact, our other leaders coming in now.
Nelson's in. Josh Arnold stays out.
So he'll get the lead a lap.
Yep, 17 seconds stop to beat. So he must have had damage or something for a stop to be that long. We've seen some of the guys have sort of 5-second stops. I saw some with 10. There's been a real variation in the stop times.
Quite a bit, indeed.
Yeah, been a real range. Stephen Elson, again, not a fast stop for Stephen Elson. 15.8.
I wonder if this is actually iRacing's randomness that they throw into there, because the drivers, iRacing does have a variable that it will not fill fuel exactly the same amount of time every time. Well, this does get him out ahead of Winter, which is critical, and it looks like by about 2.5 seconds, I'm seeing.
Yep, around 2 seconds, 2.5 seconds between the two of them.
Elson is sitting in the best position right now, but McAreevy is going to see if he can do anything about that. Even though he had lost time, as we've seen, the pit stops have just been all over the map. If Jerry gets a good one in, he could potentially get himself ahead or in the fight for first.
Something weird to point out, we saw that Austin Winter had a 17.4 second stop, but Stephen Elson had a 15.8 second stop.
And Josh Arnold came in, but he missed his stall big time.
Oh no, that's not what he would have wanted. So we're going to have problems for all three guys. Stephen Elson had a 39.6 lane, whereas Austin Winter had a 34.8, but Austin Winter has still come out behind.
Elson goes by, Winter goes by, and Kane Halliburton has moved into third, but we're not sure if that is
his strategy completely done. Josh Arnold. Actually, nope. It looks like Doherty, I'm seeing, moving into fourth.
Doherty, yeah. He has jumped McAreevy and Josh Arnold, and Jason Katz is also ahead of Josh Arnold, but I don't believe Jason Katz has done a proper stop, pitted on the same lap as Kane Halliburton, 19 laps, so I doubt he's going to have to come in, surely.
Got a battle for 12th. Adam Bradshaw trying to hold off Jack Hobbs. Both of these drivers have taken their scheduled stops. Bradshaw more recently, 4 laps ago. Hobbs about 9 laps ago. We're down to 11 minutes left. And we believe we should be getting just about everybody in soon. The only drivers I'm seeing who have still yet to pit. Actually, no, everybody has pitted now, so everybody's in and out. With that, then, strategy has played itself out. This is all going to be down to what you can do on track. Let's go through our top 10, give you the running order. Elson is your leader. He's got about a 1.5 second lead over Austin Winter. Winter has had a slow stop, and that put him on the back foot a little bit. Kane Halliburton is in 3rd place, but we think he might need one more stop before all is said and done. We'll see how it plays out in the end. Edward Doherty sits in 4th, but he's 13 seconds back from Halliburton, so it's unlikely he'll make it to the podium unless we see Halliburton pit again. Then our 5th place driver, Joseph, is Jason Katz, in a good fight with Doherty right now.
Yeah, indeed he is. Josh Arnold looking to get involved as well. Jason Katz not too far behind. So, is that a 4-5 car train we got there? Alejandro Liejo coming in to the pits. Who else is that in the pits? I see another car. Is that a back marker? That's is Tom Gradwell in P25. So he's not going to be involved in this battle, but we'll see where Liejo.
Now, this is telling because Alejandro was one of those drivers who was involved in that big incident at the top of the hill before the final corner. So are we going to see Halliburton in very soon? Or is he trying to stretch it? He's been out there for 21 laps, which means he's going to have to make about 30 of them total. Now, who did the longest stint? I'm curious if we could figure that one out. That'll really tell us maybe what the limits are. Halliburton's going to go around for yet another lap as we watch this battle with Doherty. It's led by Jason Katz, who's got himself up into 4th. Excuse me, no, Josh Arnold leads it in 4th. This is all for position between these 4 drivers.
Jason Katz is also one of those drivers that got caught up in the incident. That could explain why some of these guys that were in the incident maybe just had a fast repair. 5.1 and 7.4 for Kane Halliburton and Jason Katz, whereas we look at Steven Elson and Austin Winter, 2 guys that have been out and haven't had any incidents, and they stayed out, 15.8 and 17.4. So they are very, very different times, about a 10-second difference. So,
and I'm not sure that iRacing's variance is that big. Katz had a horrible run through 5. He's going to lose 2 positions as Doherty and Plumley, there you can see, are streaming by down the backstretch. He's going to give that up in his Martini SRF. Down to 8 minutes to go, and still Halliburton stays out.
He's going to come in sooner rather than later if he wants to make a stop, surely.
So, things starting to come down to the wire. Right now, driver leading the race, Steve Elson, up to 2-second lead over Winter. And starting to stretch away. No, Winter was 2.5 when he came out. So Winter is closing in, but it's bit by bit, and it might be too little too late.
Yeah, if he wants to get that race win, it's going to have to be now or never. He's going to have to push now if he wants to have a chance at the race win. We're going to go down to P15, Alejandro Liejo and Wayne Palmer. This is an intense battle. Liejo came in a couple of laps ago. Palmer been out for around 5 or 6 laps. So
Palmer was the one I believe we saw who had an issue into turn 3, took to the off course. So now trying to regain that ground as he gets a nice slipstream up the backstretch here. Question is he going to try it into the chicane? He's got the momentum. He looks to the inside. No defensive move from Alejandro, but a big lift from Wayne means he wants to wait for yet another lap. Boy, that battle for 4th, which we believe is going to wind up being the battle for 3rd, continues to stay incredibly hot as they work their way past some lap traffic. Josh Arnold leading the train at the moment. Plumlee has gotten his way up into 5th now. I think they're going to stay line astern down into the braking for the chicane. Nobody making any moves.
Jerry McAreevy now on the back of this train after having his various issues earlier on in the race, which was a real shame for Jerry. He was up there in P2 battling for the win, but I don't think he's going to be battling for P2 anytime soon.
Yeah, probably left wondering what could have been. At least trying to salvage a podium if he can get to the front of this train. He's going to have opportunities. I'm starting to think the way these guys are behaving and staying in line that everybody is thinking long-term here, just waiting for a moment later in the race where they can't attack them back and retake the position.
Jerry McAreevy goes off.
I wondered about that understeer, if we'd ever see that. He pushed it a little bit too hard. Thankfully, he didn't find the wall, but look at all the time this has lost him. That car behind him is Gary Wolbolt. That is a lapped car.
He's now back. He's back on them. Who's that in the pits? That is Jason Katz. So, yep. Jason Katz. Kane Halliburton is also in the pits. So that long-awaited pit stop has eventually come. And
Halliburton missed his pit stall. Yeah, I think they were trying to push it as far as they could just to see what the car could do, and sadly it's about 4.5 minutes shy on fuel. Halliburton returns. What position is he going to come back in? I think he's going to get 6th. Not a bad showing considering the monstrous incident that he had.
Yeah, that was a pretty big incident involving sort of 5, 6, 7 cars, and to come out with a P6 to finish where he is now, that would be a really good result for Kane.
Well, if they weren't aware before, Owen Bradshaw, we're hearing, has had trouble. He's in 15th now. Is down into turn 1, and it looks like Mike Lucas, the lapped car, was involved in it kind of innocently here. Here we go. Down into turn 1, that lift throttle oversteer. Oh no, actually a little bit of curb on the outside it looks like, and just barely missing it was that lap car. As we come back live. So, as it winds down to 3.5 minutes left to go, if the drivers in that second pack weren't aware of what the situation was, now they are, because surely Josh Arnold should have seen that he's sitting in 3rd instead of 4th as he's gained another spot, and the cars behind him, Plumlee and McAreevy. And we had a 4th one. Where did he go? Oh, that was Katz, excuse me. Katz pitted early. A lot happening out here, Joseph.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a pretty exciting race, to be honest with you. With the amount of lead changes we've had, we could call it an oval race.
Yeah, and McAreevy trying to get back ahead, but his momentum interrupted. That was Jose Oviedo, who we saw off course just there for a moment. He's gathered it back together and continued, but McAreevy can't find a way around Plumlee coming out of the chicane. He takes a peek, tries to shake him down to the first corner, but that's not going to work here. more cars off course that they just went by. That was Andrew Whitston.
Yep, he's having issues. See if I can see what happened.
While you're looking at that, we're going to stay on this battle. Riding on the back of Plumley, looking at McAreevy, driver who could have had a win here. As he started in 8th, still needs to be happy with a potential 5th at worst, unless he wrecks out. Could be as high as 3rd.
Well, looks at Andrew Whitston had a bit of oversteer through 1 and just tried to correct it, lost the back end and tried to hold it, nearly held it, but the bumps on the grass just forced him off and spun.
Down the hill they go. 2 laps left for this race. Steve Elson is still our leader. We'll go to him on the final lap, but McAreevy is making his move on Plumley now to the inside, down into turn 1. As we jump back to this battle, can he keep the speed? Yes, he does. But can he hold off Plumley? Can he chase down Josh Arnold in front of him for that podium? Oh, no, he can't because he spins. Through 3, once again, it bites another one. We're going to look at the replay real quick, and then we'll have to jump to Elson soon here. Is this the curb, or was this just too fast into the corner? No, that's curb. Absolutely curb, Joseph.
Yeah, I don't think there's anything else to explain that one, but that is... Has Kane Halliburton had enough? No, he hasn't. I thought he did for a second. Kane's still quite a way off of Jerry McAreevy.
White flag is out, and Steve Elson leads by 1.2 seconds. Austin Winter is starting to reel him in, and he's got lap traffic in front of him as well. Are we going to see a fight to the line? In front of Elson is Alejandro Lerro. He pulls out of the way, lets him through. It might be too little too late because Winter is getting a whiff of the draft. He's just not close enough to have an attempt into this chicane. If he gets a fantastic run out of the final quarter, he maybe be able to jump him.
Elson's going to have to make a mistake, and he doesn't.
Nice and clean through there. It's Elson's to lose from here, but he's got it down to the line, squeaking by on the skin of his teeth. Steve Elson takes the win at Road Atlanta. Winner takes 2nd, and Arnold has shaken both McAreevy and Plumley. We missed something happening to Plumley. He's dropped way off. But a great run by Josh Arnold going from 10th to 3rd.
Good result for him there. Jerry McAreevy. Started P8, somehow managed to get P4. Been involved in various spins throughout this 40-minute race and somehow survived.
Hard charger for me has got to be Fred Desai. Started 22nd. Now, is this a battle for position? Yes, it is. Oh, it's not settled down, though. He's going to lose 1 just before the line because David Gregorio snatches it away. Is he going to lose 2? No, not quite. Still, Desai manages to get himself into 8th at the finish. Not bad for being way down in the pack at the start.
Paul Godden, Wes Shire managed to get Paul Godden on the line by 0.019 of a second.
Ooh. That is our field. We're going to take a quick break here on the Global Sim Racing channel. We'll come back with the unofficial results as well as driver interviews. And stick around because on screen you'll see all the upcoming races here on GSRC. How you doing, Sean? Oh yeah, I should have waited for that. Sorry. How you doing, Sean? Gotta. Weekend Warriors, the SRF Weekend Warriors League. And Steve Elson went from 7th to 1st today. Definitely helped along by a bit of the chaos that happened around this incredibly short circuit. But he held off Austin Winter all the way to the end. Austin chasing him down right to the line, taking 2nd. Josh Arnold with an excellent podium going from 10th to 3rd. Jerry McAreevy, he could have seen a win. He was up battling for the front, but a mistake sent him backwards. He has to settle for 4th. Kane Halliburton, of course, finishes in 5th, as he was another driver that started on the front row, and unfortunately an accident caused him to be tumbling down the order early in the race. Robert Plumley gets himself a 6th place, and David Gregorio manages to snipe a spot right at the line to get 7th over Fred Desai, who can't be too disappointed, still going from 22nd to 8th place. Jason Katz started 4th, 2nd row. Oh, he can only do as good as 9th today. Then the top 10, rounded out by Wes Shire.
Paul Godden had an interesting race, battling with his teammate, and, well, was very, very close to Wes Shire. Under 200ths, but Wes beat him to the line. Adam Bradshaw, we didn't really see much of him, had a couple of spins, managed to find himself in P12. Wayne Palmer comes from P24 to P13, the last person on the lead lap. Issa Nunmi started in P31, a real hard charger there, up into P14. Now we move on to our lap cars. Alejandro Liejo in P15. P16 was Jeff Cantor. Keith Walsh and Demetrius Houdelouis, P17 and 18. Andrew Whitston and Jose Luis Oviedo Castillejo was P20.
I'm glad you got that name and not me, but Gary Walbolt finished in 21st, Mike Lucas 22nd. Richard Valley comes home in the 23rd spot. Now we get into cars that had big problems. Tom Gradwell, 4 laps down in 24th. Edward Doherty in 25th. Steve Ray, 26th. Sad to see for the league organizer. Jack Hobbs, a whole 11 laps down in 27th. Jeffrey Gambrell, 28th. Philippe Chauvin, 29th. Fraser Williamson, he put it on the pole, but he is going to be 30th today after turn 3 was his Achilles heel. Charles Eric Lemelin in 31st with Richard Yallen 32nd. Jason Perry, 33rd. C. Love, 34th. Last car in the grid did not start, Carl Townsend. With that, sadly, none of the drivers have come to join us. And as I say that, we got Fraser Williamson. So why don't we bring him in to talk to him real quick about what I'm sure was an incredibly disappointing race. Fraser, it looked like turn 3 just did not agree with you today.
Wasn't as much an issue with turn 3 in itself. Last week when we spoke, turn 3 was an issue all throughout the race. This week I'd figured out with the car with the racing during the week. I found neutral a couple of times going over there, and with the way you need to use the throttle, you need to be back in power going forwards and not in neutral, otherwise you're finding yourself in a wall.
This track saw quite a bit of chaos and incidents happening all around. Do you think you could have ran away with it if you didn't have your issues out there?
I managed to get, was it a 3-second lead at the start? I don't see why I couldn't have run away with it. I knew with my pit strategy, I would have came back into traffic, but I'm sure I could have figured it out and found my way back to the front after that.
Joseph?
Fraser, how do you feel about so far this season, and do you reckon you can continue or maybe have some aims for next season?
I pop in and out with Weekend Warriors when I've got nothing else on a Sunday night, so I've done this race here and Spa earlier in the season where I ran out of fuel. I'll come back next season, I'll see what's happening, and it's always good fun racing, so I'll give it a shot.
I hope we see you there. Joe?
Well, Fraser, one last question before we let you go. I guess what probably a lot of people on the forums are wondering, how's this one compared to Knockhill?
This is good fun. I do like this track. I'd rather have Knockhill, but can't always get what you want in life.
All right. Figured I'd bring it up for you. All right. Again, commiserations on the finish, and hope to see you out again.
Cheers, guys.
as Fraser Williamson started on pole, did not finish there or anywhere close to there, sadly. So with that, nobody else has come to talk to us today. We'll hopefully get some next season, as we expect to have a few more races with the Weekend Warriors in Season 2. But in the meantime, we're going to close up. And of course, we want to give a big thanks to Steve Ray and the SRF community for coming and broadcasting with us. Also, thanks to the companies that provide the software and hardware for our broadcast listed here on your screen. Additional thanks to Eric Ekholm and Casey Lalonde, who provide our wonderful music. See the screen for how to get a hold of more of their great work. Thanks to the team today, Sean, Joseph, and Dougie. If you'd like to find out more about GSRC, including upcoming races, you can find it at globalsimracingchannel.com. Or you can check us out on social media. We're on Twitter at GSR Channel or Facebook at /Global Sim Racing Channel. The next race that we are covering hopefully will be early on in this next season. We'll get that to you soon. And when we do, you will see it in the upcoming races that we have listed here for all the other series that we've got. Definitely check those out and mark them down on your calendar. However, until next time, race clean, race hard, and we'll see you on the track. That's what happens when I get so used to the habit of next race, and then I'm like, wait, no, we don't have that.
Yes, and Stevie's been speaking to you guys.
Yes. We're in the process of getting next season set up, so just don't have anything official yet.
He mentioned that there's plans and stuff, so it's always good. Oh, So I've just seen Bathurst and Spec Ford for next week. Okay.
Good luck.
I'll come back. I'll hopefully not wreck in front of Mazdas next week.